I'm glad you're with us on the Clark Howard Show, where it's about your empowerment with knowledge so that you can pack a punch in your wallet. I want you to learn ideas from me so you can save more and spend less, and don't let anyone ever rip you off. Coming up in just 20 minutes, there is a new, ugly scam popping up across the country where someone pretends that they've kidnapped your child. How low will people go? I need to tell you how it's working so that you don't get fleeced by these crooks. And a half hour from now, when you get a medical bill from a hospital or anything like that, there's no chance for you to know whether that bill's accurate. But there's now an easy-to-use ally on your side that will go through the bills and save you money if there are overcharges there. I'm going to tell you how this new service works, what it'll cost you. Speaking of medical, there's been such a problem over the years with facilities that take care of our elderly, where because of employee turnover and maybe management turnover, sometimes poor supervision, especially at nights and weekends, where there will be a wrongful death. And the stories have been just so sad about elderly family members dying because of neglect or abuse in assisted living or nursing home. And virtually without exception, it has been required that you give up any right to sue a facility, even in the event of wrongful negligent death. The only option given are these fake kangaroo court arbitration jokes that are so much a part of the stacked deck modern American corrupt capitalism. And the good news on this front is new rules are in place that any nursing home that accepts any federal money, Medicare, Medicaid money, no longer will be allowed to hide in darkness when a loved one loses his or her life because of abuse or neglect. There will now be a right to step outside arbitration and sue the facility. Now, lawsuits are not the answer to everything, but I can tell you that the ridiculous, awful arbitration system imposed on people by banks, businesses of all different types, are an abuse of trust and the way our American system of justice should operate. You have no normal rights. You have no due process. I mean, think about Wells Fargo saying that people who were in the 2 million plus who had the fake accounts opened, that Wells Fargo says they are going to enforce the right under the accounts that no one ever wanted opened, that people have no right to sue Wells Fargo for criminally opening accounts that people didn't ask for. I mean, that's how ridiculous this whole arbitration thing is. But the nursing homes say this is going to reduce care, raise rates, and all that. I find that very hard to believe because you have to prove something anyway. And most of the time, nursing home facilities are very well run, very loving, and very caring. But when one does get out of line, there should be consequences. And I'm glad there now are going to be, because it could be your mom, your dad, your grandmom, your granddad who could be being abused. And for there to be no consequences for that is beyond ridiculous. By the way, people already in nursing homes, you remain under the old arbitration system, and there's no recourse for your family in the event that you're mistreated. It's only people who now are coming into a facility. And we're speaking now with Michael. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Pretty good, Clark. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well, I'm glad to have you along, and you are going to share a story about how you have learned to fight your own battles, and did you win or lose?
I'm not sure yet, and that's what I was hoping you could help me out with. I recently took a trip and stayed with a couple buddies at a hotel, and the day after I left, I learned that my credit card had been charged $1,100 for property damage. They were saying that they had to replace the linens in the room. Disputing that charge, I got a hold of the hotel manager. He said he wasn't going to budge. And
what did they think you did to the hotel linens? Did you take a samurai sword and chop them up?
No, it would be some stains from some food, and they said that it was unrepairable. So I got a hold of my credit card company. They told me to write them a letter and then send them a letter of the letter I sent them. And my credit card company disputed the charges, and shortly after sent me a letter saying that they had won the dispute and the charges were removed from my credit card. But now the hotel is trying to charge me directly, and I'm wondering if that's something they can do.
Well, anybody can send anybody a bill for anything. Whether you owe the bill is a different matter. So what you do is, did they send it to you by certified mail?
No, they didn't.
Okay,
and
you respond to them by certified mail.
Okay.
And you were starting to add something else, though, and I cut you off. What's that?
They're threatening now to send their latest letter is threatening to send me to collections.
That can be very harmful. So this is why responding by certified mail is important.
Okay.
What you do is, because this is a dispute of fact, it's different than, let's say they said, you didn't pay your hotel bill, you skipped, your credit card was declined, blah, 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 blah. We're coming after you under the law, and every state has these innkeeper statutes where they can come after you for an unpaid room bill. Mm-hmm. That would be a different thing. In this case, they're saying you ruined the sheets in the room. You say, no, I didn't. They say, yes, you did. No, I didn't. Blah, blah, blah. That is a clear dispute of fact that's hearsay. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you write them back and you say, by certified mail, this is not a valid attempt on your part to collect money from me. I did not damage your linens, and I will not pay you. And you send that in. Then next, they may then, at that point, either A, say, well, how would you feel about paying us X number of dollars? They may start trying to negotiate the amount that they would expect you to pay from that point. And then you would have to make a personal decision. Is there any possibility that you did damage linens in the hotel?
I mean, I think maybe an excess cleaning charge could be plausible.
Did you have a food fight in the room or something? Like, what is it they think you did?
Well, it was a bachelor party, so one of my buddies fell asleep with some chunky monkey in his lap. So.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He spilled a pint of ice cream that melted all over the bed?
Yes.
Well, you know, I wonder if that can be cleaned.
Well, $1,000, I'm not sure if the linens were quite that quality.
So they're not saying you ruined the mattress. They're saying that your friend ruined the sheets.
Right.
What kind of sheets are they putting on these hotel beds that would be $1,100? Besides,
better than the ones that I have at home.
Well, but here's something else. Let's say you take clothes to the cleaners, and the cleaners messes up your clothes. They pay you back if they admit fault and all that. They pay you back based on a depreciation schedule, not what you originally paid for the item, but what it would be worth based on having had so many uses or so much time.
Okay.
It would be crazy to expect you to pay full retail, even if it was unrepairable for the sheets. But answer back, as I described, if they turn you over to a collection agency, same thing again. You must, within 30 days of initial contact in writing by the collection agency, answer them back by certified mail, disputing the validity of the debt.
Okay.
And keep copies of all your records of this for guess how many years?
10 years.
No way, Michael. You're not planning to die in 10 years.
Really?
For the rest of your life, you file this away like you would your tax returns. You file this away because this could come up again and again and again. Wow, wouldn't you like to see pictures of what that hotel suite looks like at this point? But it's not looking so good. Robert's with us, and Robert, you have a question for me about setting up an account for a child. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
How can I be of service?
Well, we've got several grandkids, and we're wanting to look into how to set up some kind of a trust fund, or is it just a savings account the best way to go? Something that other people can also contribute to, their aunts, uncles, other grandparents.
Well, what a generous family you have there, Robert. Wow. And you are a very generous person yourself, too, aren't you?
Well, we try to help out where we can. We're just trying to look out so they've got something when they get a little older. Nothing,
if in your family culture, the grandkids we're talking about are going to be expected and likely to go to college.
Yes.
Nothing beats you doing what are known as 529 accounts, where the money grows tax-free and is spent tax-free if used for college, and the money is controlled by you as a grandparent, and the money can, if one grandchild chooses not to go to college, it can be moved to benefit another grandchild tax-free.
Okay.
Or it can even be, doesn't even have to be a relative. The money can be moved around. Have you ever heard anybody mention 529 plans?
No, I haven't.
They are absolutely the best opportunity for a parent or grandparent to benefit a child in his or her future. In your family, how likely is college for these kids?
We hope and pray that they want to go on to college and things, but I mean, the grandkids, the oldest one right now is 4, so.
But you can already tell how bright this 4-year-old is.
Yeah,
all right.
She is.
If you go to Clark.com, Robert, I have a 529 plan guide.
Okay.
Now, I take you through every step on the 529, so you can have them set up for the grandkids 10 minutes from now. Here on the Clark Howard Show, we do the Clark-rageous moment to let you know ways that people might take advantage of you, might rip you off. Today's is ultra, ultra serious. It's going to creep you out, but please pay close attention.
Scams, rip-offs, outrages. It's a Clark-rageous moment.
Over the years, I've received a number of calls about the grandparent scam. That's where someone calls an elderly person and treats them as what's known as a mark. They tell them that their grandchild is in trouble, in jail, whatever, been injured, and they need money to bail them out, get them medical care, whatever. And it's all just a pretty unsophisticated but has proven to be successful scam. Now it's gotten a lot creepier and a lot more despicable, where criminals are learning background of a specific family and then targeting a family, calling the mom or dad. And one of the reports I've read about this was a Washington Post story about what happened to a family in Virginia. And it gives me the chills. It's just ugly. So the crook calls a mom, knows who she is, knows the name of the daughter, the whole bit, and says, "We have your daughter." There's a loud scream in the background. And they say, "We are going to kill your daughter unless you follow our instructions right now. We have kidnapped her, and you need to do what we say and do not hang up the phone or she's dead." Because they want to keep you on the line, create a sense of urgency and fear. And they were then instructed to go withdraw a large sum of money. They call during banking hours, apparently, and you get out a large amount of money, and then you got to do a drop, and you drop the money, or they have you wire money or whatever. And, of course, there was no kidnapping. Woman's daughter was just fine. But think about how awful these people are to create that kind of fear in a parent. How Clark-rageous is that? So what you've got to do is stall the people on the phone however you can so you can verify on another line, on a neighbor's phone, whatever, that your child is safe. Kidnapping for ransom is so extremely rare in the United States, and let's hope it stays that way. It is so rare that the odds are nearly 100% every single time someone would get this call that this is just the scamsters. But as a parent, your heart's going to be racing, your emotions are going to be getting the best of you. And in this case, the woman paid the money only to find out later that her daughter was fine. She said she was terrified. I'd be terrified too if somebody said that they had one of my children and they were going to kill him. So please verify before you go any further. Because remember again, have this tape playing in your head. The odds are almost 100%. You're just being marked by a scammer, and your child is A-OK.
A great business needs a stunning website. And with Wix.com, you can do it all by yourself. Wix.com makes it easy to look amazing online, no matter what type of business you're in. Show off your images in a beautiful gallery. Grow your contact list and get all your social media in one place, just the way you want. Your customers are going to love it. So, what are you waiting for? Show the world what you can do. Go to Wix.com and create your stunning website today. It's easy and free.
I'm glad you're with us here on the Clark Howard Show. And my goal is every day to give you a way that you can make a difference in your financial future. I have such an unusual new opportunity for you to save money that I'm excited to share with you about a new product. You may have heard a little buzz about it, maybe not, but it concerns your medical bills. By the way, our web address, clark.com. When you have a question for me, clark.com/ask. If you ever have a procedure, ever have a stay in the hospital, or a family member who does, the bills that come later are virtually impossible to decode and understand. The chance that you have been misbilled, I love that expression in medicine, misbilled, is overwhelming. And I've talked in the past, particularly if there's a complicated surgery, a very expensive hospital bill, about hiring one of the billing consultants where you can pay somebody to review your bills, and I mean almost, if not 100% of the time, they'll find errors. That's weird. I just used the expression almost 100% of the time just minutes ago when we were talking about the kidnapping scam. But it's just as certain with medical bills that they're going to be likely errors. So there's now a new web address you can go to, just launched, called tryremedy.com, T-R-Y, remedy, R-E-M-E-D-Y.com. And with TryRemedy, you are able to run a medical bill through their system. And if they find errors in it that save you money, how they make money is you commission them on the money they save. So the commission is 20% of what they save you, up to a ceiling of $99. So if they save you big money, the maximum you're going to pay them is $99. If they save you small money, You get to keep 80% of it. They take 20%. All found money. So when you have that hospital stay or that surgical procedure or whatever, and you get the bills with all those codes and all those innocuous line items of what they're billing you for, who knows what's accurate, what's not? Who knows if somebody is miscoded and you never even had that thing they charged you $322 for or whatever? And having an ally on your side who knows how to take on the medical industry and make sure you don't pay charges you shouldn't, well, what a deal. Again, the web address is tryremedy.com. Dustin is with us. Hi, Dustin. How are you?
Good, Mr. Howard. How are you?
Good, but Dustin, we have a rule on the Clark Howard Show. You know what it is? Just call me Clark.
Sounds good.
So how can I be of service to you?
So I had a question. I'm 30, single. I got about $80,000 put away toward retirement. I paid off all my debts. I've got the emergency plan. I've been contributing to my Roth. I've done all the things that everyone says is the baby steps.
Wait, there's like 5 women on the line who'd like to meet you.
Well, we'll go with the single part there. I'm available.
Okay.
But my question, though, is what's the next step? So that's what all the advisors say is pay off your debts, get an emergency fund. How do you go about finding a financial advisor legally? How do you protect yourself from lawsuits,
well, good question.
Divorces?
The main purpose of going to a financial advisor is to help you to make sure that you're on the right path in terms of how much you're saving. And then later in life, the overwhelming reason people go to a financial advisor is to figure out, A, do I have enough money saved that I can retire? When can I retire? And then from the money I have, is it allocated right for retirement? When you're 30 years old, odds are you usually won't need a financial advisor.
A personal investor then?
I'm sorry?
A personal investor then?
Well, you could go to somebody for like what's known as allocation advice or something like that. Let's go back a step. You said you got your rainy day fund. You're max funding a Roth, you said?
Yep.
And are you doing that with one of the low-cost companies where you're choosing what your Roth is in, or are you doing that at a bank or a credit union? Or
I'm doing it with a well-respected company who's very, very focused on low cost.
Okay.
You manage your own items.
And what do you do for a living?
Active duty military.
Oh, thank you for your service. What branch are you in?
Air Force.
So are you doing your Roth IRA with USAA?
No. If I'm allowed to say the name.
Yeah, please.
Vanguard.
Oh, okay.
I have a life cycle fund with them.
Yeah, so if you're doing a life cycle or target retirement fund with them, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing at 30. You don't need somebody to advise you on that, but I'm very curious. Are you not doing the TSP?
So that actually leads into a question. With TSP and Roth, there's an age where you can't retire, you can't get access to your money. So I've actually started thinking about not using those, although they are a great tax benefit. If I just started investing on my own, I could potentially save up to $1 to $2 million and live off the interest at 44 or 45.
Okay, so let me tell you some secrets about the tax code.
Okay.
So with your Roths, if you pop with Vanguard, you pop the $5,500 in every year.
Yep.
When you hit mid-40s, you can withdraw all your contributions whenever you wish, completely tax and penalty free.
Okay.
You only have to leave behind your earnings on your asset allocation or target retirement fund. Or life cycle, whatever. You don't have to leave all the Roth behind to traditional retirement age.
Is this true for the TSP as well?
TSP, no. But the TSP is, if you looked at them as two different piles, TSP, you're doing pre-tax money into it. Is that right? Or do you have a Roth TSP option?
Roth TSP.
All right. So you do the Roth TSP knowing that that's money you're not going to be able to touch till you're 59 and a half. Fine. And then the Roth money you're doing in the Roth IRA, that's money you will be able to tap, almost all of it, well before 59 and a half.
What would you advise doing with surplus of money then at that point that I've already maxed out my Roth?
I'd love for you to look at index funds.
Okay.
And so these are great problems to have. You are an absolute max saver. You've got that mentality. You want financial independence. And so are you going to do 20 in the Air Force?
Absolutely.
So you do 20 in the Air Force, you're going to retire at half pay. It's not truly half pay, but that's what people call it. So you're going to have that. You're going to have access to the Roth money if you need it. And then you might decide you want to work still part-time or full-time somewhere else. Who knows? What do you think?
I plan on being a vagrant around Europe with a backpack for a couple of years.
Love it. So you'll already have the resources to do that easily.
Okay.
So if you pile on top of all that, because the 20 years with getting the half pay, that becomes kind of like your bond fund kind of side, your CD kind of side. So you can go all in on a broad market index fund.
Okay, and that's my safety net.
And an international index fund. And so the extra money you want to put away, you can do that. And you're already with Vanguard, you can do all that with them.
Okay.
And are you a USAA insured yet?
Absolutely.
So USAA, if you want to sit down with a financial planner, they'll do that for you for almost nothing.
Okay.
So if you want to just have a checkup, you can do that with USAA.
So you'd say maybe don't. I have an uncle who he has an investor who's apparently on the Barron's top 1,000 list, and he's saying he'd hook me up with him, but I just didn't know if I could keep doing it on my own.
I don't hear where you need that. Okay. You're doing all the important heavy lifting.
Okay.
And again, thank you very much, Dustin, for your service to our great nation.
Thank you.
And what a great example how you were saving money like a maniac. Sam is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hi, Sam.
How you doing, Clark?
Great, thank you. How can I serve you?
I just got a quick question I think I already know the answer to. I'm looking to freeze my credit, and I just wanted to know will there still be a credit history? Like, I noticed on the credit report it says no data available when there wasn't. So if I freeze my credit, will that show up?
So if you freeze your credit, any credit that you have still actively populates your credit report.
Okay.
Any past information stays on for 7 years. Any current or future information goes on your credit report. The only thing that changes is that if, let's say, somebody, not you, goes to apply for in-store credit at Best Buy. They want to go in there, they want to pretend they're you, and they want to leave Best Buy with a flat screen TV using Best Buy in-store credit. So when the store attempts to pull the credit app, they can't pull it because your credit's frozen. All it does is keep somebody from applying for credit as if they're you, and it prevents you from applying for credit until you temporarily thaw your credit file.
Yeah, that's fine. I was mostly worried about, like, if I had it frozen for 10 years and all of a sudden I want to get credit, I unfreeze it, and they say, well, you haven't had credit history in the past 10 years.
No, any credit you have keeps showing on the report.
Okay, that's what I thought. I figured you wouldn't have suggested it if that wasn't true.
No, it doesn't in any way harm your existing credit or anything with your existing credit. It's all about keeping somebody who blindsides you by impersonating you and going to apply for credit as if they're you.
Perfect.
Well, good luck and good job freezing your credit. And I need to mention, I forgot, more and more states allow children to freeze their credit files. And that's really important because children are somewhere as much as 50 times more likely to have their identity stolen than an adult. Many times it'll be a family member, but many other times it'll be a stranger. Children are easy pickings, and eventually, hopefully, all 50 states will offer credit freeze for children. Ken joins me. Ken, you wanted to know if it's Clark Smart to join me in the solar panel world. Is that right? What's the scoop?
Spam email is something that normally I would just delete it all without looking at it, but every once in a while a legitimate email makes it into my spam. So I do go through them and make sure that they're not valid before I delete them. And I keep seeing over and over these ones with solar energy and free solar panels. And so I drilled into one out of curiosity. They claim zero money down, government funds, grants, awards.
Right, let me tell you the real story.
Okay.
So the real story is that in some states in the country, you can enter into what they call a PPA, a power purchase agreement. And what you do is you lease a solar system at no upfront cost that goes typically on your roof, although some places it will go on sticks in your yard. The company that does the install for free, you get a split of the energy savings with them. But it's not a 50-50 split. They take more of the savings. You get less, could be 10 or 20% of the savings. And they make money over time from doing the install, from the federal tax credits they're able to take, and from leasing you the system. Now, leasing, let me tell you when I don't recommend it.
Okay.
If you don't plan to be in your house a long, long time, you don't want to get involved because it could complicate or spoil the sale of your home, because a buyer they end up with the liability, in a sense, of the long-term solar agreement. 2, if you can afford to lay out the money for a solar system, you want to do it because then you get the tax credits, and instead of you getting 10 or 20% of the savings, you get 100% of the savings.
Can you give me a ballpark idea of what a solar energy system would cost per home? Because I have no clue. All I know is my energy bill's going out the roof, and it's freaking me out.
In very price-competitive markets, the cost of a basic system is somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000. It's like the cost of buying a good used car. Singh is with us. Hello, Singh. How are you today?
Fine, sir. How about you?
Great, thank you. You're getting some phone calls that have you pretty nervous. Can you talk to me about that?
I am getting calls almost every day now. And they said that I owe them $4,028 in the back tax. And,
they're telling you that you owe? Yes. Is it somebody claiming to be from the IRS?
Yes, sir.
Rat alert.
You pay those people any money and your money blows to smithereens.
Oh, no, sir. I have not paid them anything yet.
Okay. So the odds that you're hearing from anybody in any way connected from the IRS is so close to zero that you shouldn't even consider that these people in any way could be legit collectors from the IRS. So
no, but go ahead.
So is there any possibility that you owe the IRS any money from a prior year?
Oh, no, sir. No.
Okay. So
never.
Don't talk to these people.
I have done the same now because when they call, when I spoke to them first time, they are very intimidating, very much.
Sure.
I was asking them again and again that why are you calling me? What is the issue? And they said, oh, we are attorneys, we do this, we do that. I said, sir, you have to send me something on paper. I don't have $4,000 on me now that I can, just say, okay, take it. No.
I don't want you talking to them.
Sir, afterwards, I never spoke with them.
Oh, you've not talked to them again since that one phone call?
Yes, sir. I have not.
But do they keep calling anyway?
Yes. Every day I got 2 calls from them at least. Okay.
All right. So do you have an answering machine or voicemail, or are they calling on your cell phone?
Yes. I have a voicemail.
Okay. So just what you need to do is just put them on ignore. Let those calls go to voicemail. As soon as you hear it's them, delete the message.
All right.
Don't let these people upset you. Don't let them intimidate you. And don't let anybody steal your hard-earned money.
You know, there's something about TrueCar that a lot of people don't even know. Here it is. Using TrueCar can also help you buy a used car. That's right. In fact, there are over 500,000 pre-owned vehicles available from TrueCar's certified dealers nationwide. So whether you're looking to buy a brand new car or a used car, you can get all the upfront pricing information that empowers you. You can also get discounts off the list price for used cars and a totally better buying experience through the TrueCar certified dealer network. That's where you'll see what other people paid for the car that you want, so you know you're getting a fair price and you can feel confident. And with TrueCar, you connect with a local certified dealer of your choice, so you can enjoy a quick, easy buying experience. You can use the TrueCar website or the TrueCar app, so it's easy to find the new or used car that you want. You just take your guaranteed savings certificate to a TrueCar certified dealer, and you'll save money on that used car. And if you're buying new, the average TrueCar user saves $3,279 off MSRP. Over 2 million people have already bought their cars through the TrueCar certified dealer network. So if you're ready to buy a new or used car, visit TrueCar.com or take it with you by downloading the TrueCar app and enjoy a better car buying experience. Some features are not available in all states. Now here's an exclusive Podcast One killer clip from How I Got Here, talking with NBC's Tom Brokaw.
So they pressed and pressed and pressed, and then they came and said, you've got to move, and you've got to go to the White House because it's the beginning of Watergate, and Dan Rather's got a big leg up, and we need somebody to go in and compete against him. What I didn't know until later is that when I got to the White House, some of the fusty old-timers in there wrote a letter to the president of NBC News saying, you can't assign some kid from California to the White House in this big story. This is an outrage.
Download new episodes now on the Podcast One app or subscribe at iTunes and PodcastOne.com.
So glad you're with us on the Clark Howard Show, where it's about you learning ways to save more and spend less, and don't let anyone ever rip you off. I am so proud of Clark.com. There's so much information at your fingertips for your wallet, on your smartphone, at your desk, on your tablet. And we have a variety of sources of information there, including one in particular that is there for you to give me feedback, information you feel I need. And Krista, there's a new way to get to that feedback section known as Clark Stinks.
Right. Our message boards, we simplified the menu a little at Clark.com, and you just go under Connect, and you'll see message boards listed right there.
So you go there, you got a beef with something I've said on the air, an opinion I have. I want to hear from you. I want you to set the record straight or set me straight. And that's why you go post at Clark Stinks. And then other people can read what you wrote. They can comment on it. They can add to it, subtract, disagree, whatever. And then weekly, Krista, you just heard, goes through the posts you put on Clark Stinks and shares ones that, well, she enjoys right here on the air.
I should have never encouraged you to speak.
You must think I'm pretty stupid.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe you're right, pal.
Okay, you stink because I don't enjoy the posts. I just pick the ones that I can read in enough time.
Well, I am such a difficult person to be around.
Oh, stop it. Here's the first one, short and sweet. You apparently said job loss is not due to unfair trade practices, but technology. And the poster says, why are iPhones made in China?
That is a great point. And I hope that I didn't say that trade had no effect on jobs, but trade affects both jobs that are created in the United States and those that are subtracted from the United States as goods are manufactured worldwide. What I did say is that we are manufacturing more goods in America than we ever have, but the number of jobs in manufacturing is way down as a percent of employed Americans because so many jobs in factories that used to be done by humans are now done by robotics and machines.
You stink because I almost got in trouble. I have never heard you mention that you can only use earned income to put in an IRA. Same with rental income, child support, etc. I had to take money out that I had put in so I wouldn't get into trouble. Please mention this from now on, Ruth in Massachusetts.
Ruth, that is a great point. And so you're allowed to contribute $5,500 in a year to a Roth or a regular IRA, unless you're over age 50, in which case it bumps up $1,000. But you do have to have what's considered to be earned income. That's money from a job in order to contribute to a Roth or regular IRA.
I just heard Clark talk about UMA being home-based only and not portable. Maybe Clark's too cheap to look beyond the bottom tier of service. When we moved, we switched to UMA for phone service. I wanted to keep my old phone number for business purposes and get a local number, so I'm paying the $105 per year for the Premier subscription. That includes a phone app that rings my cell phone whenever I get a call to my primary number or sends me a text whenever anyone leaves me a message that I can hear immediately on my cell phone. I can call from anywhere that I have either data from my cell phone company or where I have Wi-Fi. If I can call from anywhere I have Wi-Fi, why couldn't I just put my phone in airplane mode, turn on Wi-Fi, and call from anywhere in the world using UMA via the Wi-Fi connection? And that's Bruce in Bellingham. And I'm going to go ahead and read one more.
About UMA?
It's not really. Here's the title is Google Voice, phone service better and cheaper than UMA. Clark, you don't stink, but maybe you've never heard of Google Voice. It's a free service from Google that allows you to receive and make phone calls. Originally, it was intended to forward to other phone lines. However, with devices like the OB VoIP adapter, you can have phone service in your home or office for free. You can even use the Google Hangouts app to take the service with you on your smartphone. You can even port your number. $20 fee applies, and they only port mobile numbers or out. You can easily get around only by porting whatever landline number you have to a prepaid mobile carrier first, then out to Google Voice. I've been using it for all of my Craigslist transactions for years, as I don't like to give my real phone number out. I recently ported my office number to them and now enjoy more free phone service. Please consider letting your listeners know of this fantastic deal. Thanks for all you do, Joe.
Joe, thank you very much. And Krista, I think you need to say prepaid porting or something like that 3 times in a row.
Gosh,
Wait,
yes.
so I got to mention the UMA. First, UMA has a bunch of very versatile business services. I only ever talk about the base UMA product, OOMA.com. But, you know, when you talk about UMA Premier, it does open up a wide variety of additional things. UMA gives you the service essentially for free with just regulatory pass-throughs for the basic UMA, but you can really amp it up, including now a full UMA for business for your small business or even a larger than small business on the Google Voice. So my failure with talking about Google Voice is this is the third time you've had a post, I think, on Clark Stinks about Google Voice. And I've talked about the device, the OB VoIP. I bought one to try it. I find that you have to have a little bit of technical ability to handle the Google Voice. And so I talk about things that are generally widely available to people that are not techies. But for someone who's got some technical ability, Google Voice is a very adaptable, very creative, very affordable phone service that is a great alternative. But you got to have some techie to you.
$30 max for a credit freeze? Not so. Clark, you're always telling us that it's a maximum of $30 to freeze your credit with all 3 bureaus. That's not the case in the great state of Washington. We have to pay $30.95.
Really? What's the 95 cents for?
Okay, keeping paper records of financial transactions. On a recent show, Clark advocated printing out records of all financial transactions in case something went wrong. You can accomplish the same thing by doing a screen capture of the pertinent form and storing that in a desktop folder, saving time, ink, money, and paper.
Great suggestion. What I'm trying to trigger in you with the stuff about keeping financial records is whatever system works best for you, you need a backup. And there are people now who have 2 backups. They use a cloud service and an external hard drive. But to go without backup of your financial records with the ability of the hackers out there, it's pretty risky.
Perhaps LED light bulbs can shed some light on Clark's advice that is a little smelly. With respect to replacing incandescent home light bulbs with LEDs, some lights in a typical home are on a lot, while others seldom get used and then for only brief periods of time. To get the best return on our bulb replacement investment, replace the light bulbs that are used for the most hours as highest priority. The bulbs that are used some and not for many hours can be replaced when LED bulbs are cheaper, and the bulbs that seldom get used can remain incandescent with teeny tiny costs to the homeowner. This plan makes best use of our dollars, which makes sense. Also, not all LED bulbs are the same, with some extremely long life, while others are rather short on how long they provide illumination. Make sure to buy the long life bulbs since the price difference is teeny tiny, especially when on sale.
Those are great.
And that was Jim.
Jim, those are great suggestions all the way around. Now, I just jump all the way in with something like this. So I've got LED bulbs pretty much everywhere except where CFLs have not burned out yet. And as they burn out, I replace the CFLs with the LEDs. As far as traditional bulbs, I don't know that I have anywhere in the house at all.
Howard.
Well, that's better than Mr. That's good.
Okay. Love you and the advice you give, but recently you really dropped the ball. You had a caller that was 1 month away from finalizing an adoption of 2 children. He asked you about saving for their college tuition, and like a broken record, you went into 529s. Oh, Lord. You must be underinformed about the many programs for adopted children's tuition. There are both federal and state programs that can either reduce or completely pay the tuition of an adopted child. Depending on the state the adoption takes place in depends on what is available. For example, children in Florida are completely waived of tuition. I've included a link below for your review. Brush up and keep the program in mind next time you want to take the shortcut answer of a 529 or Roth. David in Kentucky.
David, you just taught me something. This is one of the reasons we do Clark Stinks. I was not familiar with that at all. Is that something you'd ever heard of, Krista?
No.
So could we put that information with a link on maybe the bottom of our 529 plan guide?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Okay, stink is a verb, and here are 4 definitions. 1, to smell not so well, to reek. 2, to have the scent of a low tide at high noon. 3, to be as a decomposing skunk in the middle of a garlic cow pasture. And 4, to pull a Clark.
The 4th is?
Pull a Clark.
Okay.
Clark, for shame, for shame. A woman called and said she loved her 2005 Honda CR-V with 180,000 miles, but wondered about getting another vehicle. You went into a road answer of average new car cost plus coming to $35,000. She could get a new CR-V for $25,000 and one just a few years old for $15,000. The newer ones come with safety features not available on a 2005 model and should have a lower risk of failure with lower maintenance costs. Money isn't just to save, it's to be managed, and safety needs to be a consideration in the case of older vehicles. Alex,
I appreciate that. I cannot think of a call in the last several months that has generated as much feedback from every angle as that 2005 CR-V. And as I said to the caller at the time, with that vehicle being 10 years old, whatever decision you want to make, buying something new, keeping what you have, they're all fine decisions because you created the possibility by having kept the vehicle long enough that any decision at that point becomes a good decision. But I appreciate your post because the safety issue is a real and present one, that a newer vehicle will be much safer on the road than one that's 10 years old.
A young man called and said he had 5 gallons worth of coins from 1985 to date. You gave him some good advice. However, his coin hoard is worth much more than the coins. Most silver coins were still in circulation up to 1998. Silver dimes are worth $1. Silver 25 cents are worth $2.50, and $half are worth $5. Wheat pennies bring 3 to 5 cents. Buffalo nickels and war nickels bring in good money also. At least 15% of his hoard is silver and wheat pennies, which is worth more than the whole batch. I know because I experienced the same thing with my hoard. Keep kind regards, and I'd just like to know how much I want you to know how much your show has helped me with my life. Anthony,
I got to tell you, I remember so clearly after that call wondering, should I have said you may have some coins that are worth some money just as coin collections? And you're talking about not even that the value of the material in the coin, in this case silver, would be worth so much.
Clark, you stink because you haven't run for president. Follow your childhood dreams. They might have listened to the Empowerment Zone episode about you. On Clark.com, you just go under On Demand and you'll see our Empowerment Zone podcast.
Well, that is so kind, but I am so unqualified to be president. But I could be president of something, right? Anyway, I appreciate your post. Please go to Clark.com and let me know in the new location, which is, again?
It's under Connect. You'll see message boards.
Under Connect, go to message boards and let me know how I can serve you better. Dennis is with us. Hello, Dennis. How are you?
Hello, Clark. It's good to speak with you.
Well, great to have you here. So, Dennis, you have a business idea, pretty unique what you want to do.
I've actually gotten a little bit of business doing it already, and I really enjoy doing it.
Well, can you spill the beans and share with your fellow listener what your business is?
Yes, sir. I've been doing some boat detailing and some small jobs, like changing batteries, things like that. And so far, all of the customers I've worked for and done anything for have just, loved the work, been happy with me. But the only advertisement I've been able to get has been word of mouth. And me just starting out and being young, I was wondering what would be the best way for me to get advertisement and get my name out there that I'm doing the work.
So the boats you're doing work at, how many of them are at marinas versus people that trailer their boats to?
Actually, a lot of them I'm doing at the people's boathouses, and my cousin owns a small marina on the lake that I'm working in, and we've got it set up to where people can pour right up, and I can wash it right there for them.
Well, the reason I was asking that is the marinas are your best outlet to get new customers, and the way to do it is to offer some form of commission to the marina operator. If it's not a corporate marina and it's owned by somebody local, they want every additional dollar of revenue they can come up with.
That's a great idea.
And so if you commission them on new business, they may even give you at their marina space just like you're getting at the one you're already working at for you to do work at their location, because for them it becomes like an amenity.
Right.
That they're offering, it's an additional thing that if you come to their marina, you're getting detailing and minor repair service, and that could be very appealing.
Yes, sir. That's fantastic.
The other place you should offer some form of commission is at boat stores. Or you could even offer at a boat store to do some detailing for them in return for a referral of business, and then you're not laying out money, just some time.
I like that.
Because everything you want to do in boating, it's kind of a closed community, and so there are just a small number of targets you want to try to hit, and as easy as you can make it for whoever it is who's giving you the referrals, where you're giving them something they want, the better.
Yes, sir.
Well, good luck to you. That's some hard work you do.
I enjoy it, though. I put my headphone in, I listen to you.
Well, great for that, and I hope you have a wonderful day and continued success.
Thank you, too. Bless you, Clark.
Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans proudly supports this podcast. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage approval process into the 21st century. It's fast, powerful, and completely online. You see, Rocket Mortgage has taken all the complicated, time-consuming parts of applying for a mortgage out of the equation. Hate searching through stacks of old files and paperwork? Well, with Rocket Mortgage, you can easily share your bank statements and pay stubs at the touch of a button. It helps you get approved in minutes for a custom mortgage solution that's been tailored to your unique financial situation. Even better, with Rocket Mortgage, you can do all of this on your phone or tablet. It's a quick online process that you can manage from the convenience of your couch. So if you're looking to refinance your mortgage or buy a home, check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/save. That's quickenloans.com/SAVE. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030. Stay tuned for 60 seconds of AP News headlines right after this podcast.
Glad you're with us on the Clark Howard Show, where it's about empowering you with knowledge that helps you stretch every dollar. I'm about to step into a controversial area that has upset a lot of medical professionals in a way that I have recommended stretching your dollar, but here goes nothing. Our show's devoted to helping you keep more of what you make. On the web at clark.com. When you have a question, clark.com/ask. I have talked many times about this enormous gap with the hearing difficulties of so many Americans, and because of the consumption of music, Americans have a greater problem of hearing loss than we've had in the past. A lot of Americans will not consider wearing a hearing aid because, well, they feel self-conscious, and others might want to wear a hearing aid, but the cost of buying them is so prohibitively expensive, in the thousands and thousands of thousands of dollars, that people pass. So we've got this big disconnect because outside the United States, you can buy very high-quality hearing aids for a few $100s, where a hearing aid in this country can be easily in the thousands. There's another product that's getting very, very good reviews. It's called the Volt, V-O-L-T. And it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but it's a whole lot less expensive than buying hearing aids the traditional way. A pair costs $1,000. It's also really designed for you to buy one for $500. And the idea is that you buy it and people may need only assistance in a single ear, or maybe you're only willing to try one in one ear, and you can buy them right on the web and have the hearing aid sent to you, which is something that is this the area where it's been very controversial. People about me talking about buying these, bypassing going to a hearing professional. But the thing about the Volt that's getting it such good press is that you charge it each night like you would charge your cell phone. So the device can be ultra miniaturized. And for people who feel self-conscious wearing a hearing device, it's just not visible. It's so teensy tiny. And it gives you the ability to hear. You know, so many baby boomers can hear fine in a quiet room at home or whatever, but you go anywhere with ambient noise and you just can't hear. And, you know, you strain to try to follow what's going on, and you miss out on things. And I don't know where the stigma has come from that people feel embarrassed about wearing one. But I'll tell you, if the time comes, because in my business, everybody ends up where they can't hear. So far, that hadn't happened to me. But if it does, and my hearing starts to degrade, or I have trouble at, let's say, a social event or a party, or at a public appearance for the show or whatever, and I'm having trouble hearing, I'm going to get one, but I'm going to get one of the discount ones, like I've talked with you about on the show. So this is not something that is a stark either or, that you either spend thousands and thousands of dollars or you can't afford one, because there are so many alternatives like the Volt. Oh, I should give a web address. MD Hearing Aid, like MD for doctor, medical doctor, mdhearingaid.com. Carol is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hello, Carol.
Hi, Clark. How are you today?
Great, thank you. I hope everything's wonderful with you.
Yes, it is. Thank you. I have a problem with a real estate listing service. It has the incorrect information for my house. There's a house with a very similar address. It just has a east or a west rather than an east on the street, and it's become attached to my list, my address. So if you pull up my address, it shows the picture and pricing information for the other house, and the other house is worth about half as much as mine. And I've contacted the real estate listing service, and it still has not been changed. So I'm looking for your guidance.
So you contact them by email, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. And so when you contacted them, they on the listing, it says on any listing on their website, it says if there's a problem, click here to report a problem. So you clicked there to report a problem, and nobody responded at all?
Well, it was a while ago. Somebody responded, and they said the problem was a realtor had attached themselves to the address because the opposite house was for sale, and they contacted the realtor, but I checked again recently. It's still exactly the same, and I sent another email to complain, and I have never gotten a response.
Keep hammering them one after another. You know, this is a common problem with internet databases, is that when you deal with various websites and they're running them really lean and they don't give you anyone to actually talk to, any physical human being.
Right.
The other thing with them is, have you tried to send an email to any of their corporate officers? Because they're a public company.
So just try to look. I have not tried that. Look them up.
Yeah, go look for like investor relations, you know, about us, that kind of button that's right on the bottom of their website.
Okay.
And find some people who you start sending emails to personally. And that seems in the low service, high volume web community, that seems to be the one way to pierce them and get action.
Okay, because, I mean, it's sort of irritating now, but if I go to sell my house, it makes it look...
It's ugly for you.
Yeah.
Because people take, a lot of times, if they're from out of market, they'll take the survey that this website does, coming up with a value, and they think, oh, those people really are on some kind of hallucinogen. How do they think their house is worth that much?
Right.
Because it says right here it's only worth this.
Right. Okay. Okay, I'll try that. Thank you.
All right. And be politely persistent, and I bet you'll get results.
Okay, I'll try that. Thanks.
Let me hear back.
Okay.
Thanks, Carol. Doug is with us. Hi, Doug.
Hey, Clark. How are you today?
Great. Thank you, Doug. How can I serve you?
Well, I've got a kind of a two-part question. First of all, I lost my job.
Okay.
The question that I have for you is, I've got a significant amount of stock that was in an ESOP 401k type plan, and I'm wanting to use the NUA treatment to take that money out and pay for my home, kill the mortgage. I guess first of all, I want to know if that's a good idea, and then secondly, I've got an issue with some of the shares are restricted, and I may be having difficulty using that net unrealized appreciation.
Well, you know, usually the rules are so arcane on ESPPs and ESOPs. Was yours an ESOP?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if you take a distribution, NUA, for people who aren't aware, is net unrealized appreciation. And there are very specific issues involved with you taking your ESOP money and cashing out and using it to pay off the mortgage on the house. Do you have someone who's helped you with tax work in the past?
No, I've used a commercially available program and done it all myself.
All right. This is a case where that's not what you want to do.
Okay.
You know, you're dealing with something that you don't want later to say, oh, if I would have done this or that, it would have had this effect. This is absolutely a circumstance where you sit down with the CPA who does tax, or with what's known as an enrolled agent. That's someone who's an expert on federal tax issues.
What agent, Clark? I'm sorry.
It's called an enrolled agent.
Enrolled agent.
An enrolled agent generally is less expensive to hire then hiring a CPA who does tax. But I'm kind of neutral on which direction you would go. In this case, though, I would prefer that you look for someone who's a CPA who does tax, and I'll tell you how I'd find that person.
Okay.
Do you have any buddies who own their own businesses?
Ooh, not that I can think of right very quickly, no.
Because that's one of my favorite sources for you to find a CPA who does tax is to find, think about who you might know, in your neighborhood, or if you go to a religious congregation or wherever, people who own their own business, ask who they use to do their tax work, and are they happy with the person, get referral.
Okay.
Because one thing I learned long ago is that you don't ever want to tell your accountant later what you did that ultimately causes a tax issue.
Yeah, that's what I want to avoid.
You want to ask them up front, what's the best way to handle an ESOP? And on the restricted issue, although that can come up with an ESOP, that also more often comes up with an ESPP. Do you have both ESOP and ESPP money?
I'm not sure what the latter is.
It's an employee stock purchase plan.
No.
Okay, so all yours is ESOP.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to direct you to a place on the web where they talk about a whole bunch of the mumbo-jumbo with ESOPs, and it's a blog that this guy writes who's a CPA, and it's ESOP. Let's see. Oh, no, it's One Stop ESOP blog.com.
Now,
let me repeat that. One Stop ESOP blog.com. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
3 letters.
Huh?
Is it the number one or
ONE?
ONE, okay. ONE stop ESOP blog.com.
And he talks about one of the first issues that he talks about is NUAs.
Okay.
But I wouldn't just go. What I'd use the blog for is to get more knowledge so that you then can ask more specific questions of a tax professional to make sure you do the right thing. Now, if you are unemployed, taking this money and then using it to pay off your house, that's a whole different issue.
That was the second part of my question.
That may or may not make sense depending on, in your industry that you are now a refugee from, your prospects for new employment, is it something that you expect you're going to be unemployed for 6 weeks or less, 6 months or more? Like, what kind of feel do you have? And I know that's hard to ask you.
Yeah, I was doing training, but it was training in a specific technical area, so I feel like I could do either, look for something in the training field or focus on I have a credential and focus on that. It's in fire protection.
Oh, so you don't sound particularly worried about the employment side.
No, sir, I'm not. My wife has a good job as well. So
okay, so she's providing an economic backstop for you also.
Absolutely.
Okay, then make this decision on the tax angle, and that's why you want to get expert tax advice, and best to you in the job market. Artie is with us on the Clark Howard Show. Hello, Artie.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Artie, you are starting your own business.
Yes, I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'm starting a hair retail business, and I was wondering if I should use social media advertising and come on a low budget and deliver my products to the customers, or should I go ahead and get the building and then use the social media for them to come to the building? I mean, I'm going to get the building eventually anyway, but should I start off more professional? Because I don't want to...
No, so you're saying the business you're doing, you will be able to do through social media and not have your own physical space that you're having to rent.
You're right.
Yes, that is the right option.
Strategy.
The right strategy is not to start off renting a commercial space or a retail space. If you can serve customers without it, and a lot of people will receive the hair products by mail or UPS or FedEx or something.
Well, by me delivering.
By you delivering?
Main objective with them, yeah, the main objective with them, for them to physically experience the hair before they purchase.
All right. So if you're going to be basically a high-touch, high-service business, and you're going to the customer, definitely do not go the route of renting commercial or retail space, because the overhead that you have to overcome is so huge. And using social media to spread the word about what your service is such a great way to do it. I mean, people are getting bombarded with social media, so you got to be targeted in how you do it. And I think social media, particularly with the new business, works best if there's some kind of hook of what kind of promotion you're running for a limited period of time. You can get this, that, or the other. Regular price this. The limited price is this, that, or the other for a limited number of people. Even if it's really not for a limited number of people, that's how you do the pitch. And how do you decide who you're going to reach on social media? Are people already aware of your expertise in this area, and you just need to expand the pool of people who would be potential customers?
Well, I'm the main people that would want to hear the market that I'm trying to penetrate is basically, I'm a college student, so it's mainly college students and young adults that would be in my market. So I already have like the friends, the referrals.
Great.
So all I have to do is put it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and have it like reposted, and I believe I would gain customer because it's a really hot trend right now. So I really want the revenue now while it's hot.
Go for it.
So that was the plan.
I think it sounds great. You got a very low-cost marketing plan, very low overhead plan except for product. You're a lot of it in that your expertise and your service is a lot of what you're selling that differentiates you potentially from others out there doing what you want to do. Go take a stab at it today.
Okay.
I'm with you. I think it'd be really neat. And Artie, I want you to call me back once you've been operating for a few months. Let me know how you're doing and anything I can do to help you maybe take it to the next level of what I'm anticipating is going to be success.
Thanks for listening to the Clark Howard Podcast. Download new episodes every Monday through Friday at podcastone.com. That's podcastone.com. Stay tuned for the latest AP News headlines from Podcast One right after this.
When shopping for car insurance, consider this. Geico has been saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. So if you're serious about savings, it's simple. Go to geico.com. After 75 years, they know how to save you money.
AP Update, I'm Ross Simpson. Donald Trump is suggesting a boycott of the next issue of People magazine after it published a story by a writer who claims that Trump forcibly kissed her during an interview break. It's one of a handful of allegations of groping and assault that have emerged against Trump